Welcome to episode 19 of Out of Bounds, a podcast where I give my social commentary on different topics in today's society. I'm your host, Terry, and today, talking about a couple things. My branded, I would say, moral grandstanding is what I call it. Also talking about call-out culture and cancel culture, too many C's. So let's get into that. So, something that a phenomena, I would say, that I've tried to name, and again, it's not like I'm super inventive or anything, but what I'm just calling, I wouldn't say I created this, is moral grandstanding. And so what that means in the terms of this idea of call out culture, cancel culture, all this stuff, is that we're in a society now, and we have been before, but it's more prevalent with social media and the internet, where people are not trying to point out other people's faults for correction towards a better society. We're in a society where people are trying to call out other people's faults to make them look better as a person, and to make me feel better, and to look like the more morally just person. And so when we're talking about ethics and morals, these aren't laws. These are, some things deal with laws, but for the most part, we're talking about subjective thoughts about how you should behave as human. And like people say, be a decent human being. Well, who decides what decent is? Like people say, don't be inappropriate. Well, who decides what inappropriate is? And so it's subjective. It changes. But there are certain things that we take as, the right morals. And so what we have now with the access of the, social media and everything, and the quickness of it, is that people are just trying to condemn other people so they can look like the good ones. Now, here's how this plays out. Or here's the example that I would use. The whole Me Too movement. And not disparaging the Me Too movement or anything else. It did start out as a whole issue over money, but that's a whole nother conversation. So anyway, the whole Me Too movement, it starts out with kind of some not top tier actresses. And they're telling their stories and coming forward about Harvey Weinstein. And so what you had afterwards were all these big time celebrities coming out to condemn Harvey Weinstein to the tune of, oh yeah, I never liked Harvey Weinstein, or yeah, I didn't like any movie I did with Harvey Weinstein, or yeah, I never worked with Harvey Weinstein because I knew he was bad, or you have people like, yeah, I used to tell people all the time never work with Harvey Weinstein. Like, besides the whole idea of feeling comfortable to bash people now that other people are doing it, and mob mentality, and the thin line between mob mentality and just kind of being comfortable coming out. Besides that, if you think about it, you're a celebrity. A big time celebrity, and a lot of your career was built on working with Harvey Weinstein's or movies that he was affiliated with. Or let's say you have a good relationship with him. Let's say you have interviews where you said good things about him, or you got pictures with him, whatever. Is it in your best interest to A, say nothing about the issue, or B, come out and publicly condemn him? And so we all know that in this age, your silence, and in politics, your silence can be taken as a vote of condoning. And so is it really in your best interest to not say anything? And so I think if you approach it from that perspective, I try to put myself in people's shoes. Yes, the obvious move is to go out there and bash Harvey Weinstein. And so what you had was a barrage of people coming out condemning Harvey Weinstein. And so it wasn't in the face of, oh, I thought he was pretty cool, but now I hear he's bad, so let me try to help fight against him. Some people might have been like that. But for the most part, you could tell, especially people that were just really ingrained with Harvey Weinstein, and then the ones that claim to have had encounters with Harvey Weinstein that were negative, but yet you went on to a famous career and never said anything about it. We're not talking about being forced into doing something. We had a lot of actresses, again, low level, some out of the game, that were like, yeah, I gave up my career in Hollywood because I wasn't going to cross those lines. And so what does that say about all these people that came out and said I had a run in with Harvey Weinstein, but yeah, I continued to work with him? So either way, it's not right what he did. I'm not condoning it, but the point is, it wasn't you coming out just for the pure justice of it. It was people coming out to get the moral high ground, as I say it, because we all want to look like the good guys. In any conversation we have of race, privilege, identity, any of these things, it's about people upset that people are calling them out because everybody wants to look like the good person. We all want to look like we have the moral high ground for the most part in the public eye. Maybe not behind closed doors, but in the public eye, especially celebrities. And so celebrities started this. And maybe I should have had my episode about celebrities before this, but celebrities started this. They moved the needle. And so when celebrities said, hey, yeah, it's cool to moral grandstand, just go out there, say what people want to hear, and, get yourself in the light. Because the opposite side is that you had people who came out and was like, yeah, what Harvey Weinstein did was disgusting, blah, blah, blah. And then not too long later, you found out they had their own scandals where they was doing the same thing that he was accused of doing. And so then it was like, oh yeah, you're so great because you stood up and you made a statement against Harvey Weinstein. But then turns out you was just doing the same thing as well. And so that's moral grandstanding. Like, no, you don't actually believe it. You just saying what people want to hear so you don't get in trouble as a celebrity. Now, as people, we don't, or as regular non-celebrities, we don't have the culture or the financial capital or the cultural capital of a celebrity. They have to protect that, because if you mess up, then we see that could mess up your career, mess up your money. But for us, we don't have no money at stake. What do we have? Ego. All we have is ego. I want to look like I'm on the right side of the fight. Oh, I'm so social justice. I'm so progressive. I'm such a morally righteous person. And so we started to, as a society, get involved in moral grandstanding, where we started to create call out culture. And so call out culture, if you never heard of it, is this idea that not only is it okay to call people out for their mistakes, but it is your duty to call people out for their mistakes. And if you don't call people out hard enough, then that means you're part of the problem. And so people, as they tend to do, make things black and white, left or right. Here's the line in the sand. You either condemn these people and rebuke them and refute them, or you're part of the problem. And if you don't do it hard enough, we can judge you and say, yeah, you're part of the problem. That's call out culture. It's not about actually progressing anything. It's about being on the right side. And there's documents and papers and whatnot of people who have maybe not called it that, but they understood that their activism online turned into something very toxic and very negative. And so people wonder why people on the supposedly progressive side of things can be so ugly and disgusting. And you get things like UC Berkeley and like, wow, how could you feel like you're so right, but then do terrible things? Just like a lot of religions. It's like you're supposed to be about uplifting and you're doing terrible things in the name of religion. It's all about the ego of moral grandstanding. It's not really about the actual results of fixing things. It's not about the results of trying to progress, maybe partly in your heart, yeah, but as a societal whole, we have lost the idea of why we're even doing it, and people are just conditioned to do it. And so when R. Kelly comes, or the scandal comes out, and again, the scandal's been out for whatever, but when that happens, and this is new to me, but people had to cancel him. It's the cancel culture. And so pretty much that means, look, we ain't listening to none R. Kelly ever did. We ain't doing anything, any of his products, any type of support for him means you condone pedophilia. And so some people are like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to any more R. Kelly new stuff, but I'm still going to listen to his old stuff. No, that means you condone pedophilia and everything else he did and grooming. It's like, wait. No, that's not true, but it doesn't matter because the internet can bark so loud and call out culture and cancel culture that even if it's not true, facts don't matter right now. So we're just going to label you as a part of the problem. And so you listen to that one R. Kelly song on the way home and you admit it, oh, you're done. R. Kelly's canceled right now. What do you mean you listen to an R. Kelly song? And so that's the idea of call out culture. Because look, if you got somebody on your timeline or Instagram, whatever, that says, "Oh, I listened to an R. Kelly song today," and it's like, yo, I saw your friend or whoever posted that. Why didn't you say something to him? It's like, yo, that's their life. I'm going to let them live their life. And then now you become part of the problem. It's like you didn't call them out. So obviously you condoning what they condoning and they condoning what R. Kelly condoning. And so that becomes the moral grandstand. I gain more power. I gain more morality by calling everybody else out. And that makes me look like the better person. And so that is what our call out culture, our cancel culture is built upon. It's this ego. I mean, and it's ego, but it's more than ego for celebrities. But again, for non-celebrities, that's all it is. Because this idea, like, look, if I work to the position of CEO of this cable company or whatever, and a celebrity does something I don't like, I could literally say cancel their show. They're not working anymore. I'm cutting off their funds. I have that power. None of us have that power. Like, yes, the social media movements get things done with businesses these days, but we don't have that actual power. And so people are like, yo, we canceling them or I'm canceling them. It's use that term because in their mind, the ideology is I have the power to cut off your fortune and fame and career when you do something I don't like. And that's not true. It's just a fantasy. A lot of things we do is subjective or people think it's subjective when it's not. It's facts to the matter. It's objective. You don't have that power. Yes, collectively as fans, we support these people and the fans are what dictate what shows come back. But as a single fan or even a group of fans, we don't have that power. But that fantasy, that ego, is cancel culture. You cancel, you done. And so that's why, like, people cancel people every day because the oversensitivity, that's another conversation. But guess what? They come back a lot faster in cancel culture. Like before, when you went to a scandal, Mel Gibson, Aziz Ansari, Kevin Spacey ain't coming back, but, you know, a couple other people, you might come back after a year or two, after, you know, lay low. Liam Neeson, he gonna be back, all that. But when it's cancel culture, it's more of an even more petty form where it's just like, yeah, you cancel. Okay, you uncancel now. You cool. You apologize. Like, come on. It's all moral grandstanding. It's people acting as if they are better than other people. And with the internet, you can see things a lot quicker, so you can judge things a lot quicker, and then you expect change a lot quicker. When you mess up as a person, if you intentionally deal with it, depending on who you are, it could take months to reconcile and to move on and be better. Let alone if you don't ever recognize it till years down the road But when you a celebrity and you online, or if you're just anybody online and you say it for public consumption, oh no, right then and there, you need to fix it. And I'm not even going to get into the punishment, the pound of flesh society, where it's like there could be no real change, but as long as somebody gets fired or somebody apologizes and looks wrong and now I feel right, then I'm okay with it. They literally could not feel 1 ounce of different in their heart. But as long as they said, I'm wrong, and you're like, yeah, haha, we made them admit they was wrong because we right, moral grandstanding. I'm better morally than you are. And so that is kind of the idea of what I see the world and society in America mostly, but online culture being in, is this moral grandstanding society where we're going to say things, we're going to point people out, we're going to have these opinions to make us look better. Sometimes if we don't even believe it, or even if we're not being rational, we might not have facts, or we might not even give people a chance to be better. I mean, there's a countless number of examples, even thinking about right now, of victory is James Gunn. James Gunn was quote unquote actually canceled by Disney, got cut off from Disney Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He did the first 2 Guardians of the Galaxy as the director and writer. Once they pulled up his tweets from 10 years ago, then we had, oh my God, he's terrible, he's terrible, he's terrible. Disney overreacted and cut him off. And now they recently, months later, said that they hired him back, and they said that they've known that for months that they was hiring him back and that they overreacted. And so for the first time, the businesses and whatever, or I wouldn't say the businesses, but for the first time, the moral grandstander had to apologize and say, oh, I was wrong. We were wrong as Disney. And we shouldn't have judged him like that so quickly. We was being overreactionary. And I think that's a positive first step. It's a first step. And hopefully we start to reverse this thing, because the internet poses a lot of threats to society. And I'll get into more of those later. But today, the first internet threat, moral grandstanding. Be able to point it out, not point it out, but be able to recognize it. Be able to recognize when you're doing it. Because there's a difference between a friend pulling you aside and saying, hey, I think, you tripping, man, or you acting wild. You dirty out here. You're not doing something that I think is becoming of you, or that I think could be better. Or did you think about how you're making people feel with this? That's different than publicly chastising, dragging your friend out to the middle of the street and saying, look how terrible this person is, and let's beat on them. So, yeah, it looks like Terry really be out here checking people. And people love that title, the killjoy. They are the ones out here as the old term social justice warrior. They are out here taking people's names. They don't play that. And so that's just moral grandstanding. Even if it comes from a right place, start to realize how you go about these things and what actually affects change. It's one thing to shame people, and it's one thing to ridicule them, make them feel bad, but it's one thing to actually help a person learn. So anyway, that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this topic. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and until next episode.